Guys, Dan Hendriksen here. We're at Torquay Golf Club. We're going to be reviewing today the Cobra King Irons. They've got Mince technology in them, a stunning looking iron. We've got Lee and Lester who are both going to be hitting these irons as well. We're going to give you some numbers, we're going to talk about the tech, and we're going to take them on the golf course. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Lots of content coming your way, but let's get these clubs out on the golf course. Right, we've made our way out onto the golf course with these Cobra irons, and we're going to have a little competition. So we're going to hit some shots around the golf course, get a bit of a feel on them, talk you through what they sort of look like, what they feel like from our point of view, how they're kind of performing. We're then going to take you into the studio to give you some numbers of exactly what these clubs are doing. So we've got pretty much a whole set. In the studio, we're going to be using 6 irons to get the numbers from in there. Let's meet up with the boys and just find out exactly what we're doing on the golf course from a competition point of view. Boys, what are we doing out on the golf course?
No idea, Dan.
I've told everybody that we're doing a little tournament or a competition, but what are we actually going to do?
Wishing we'd worked harder at school.
Yeah, well, you say that every day. As soon as I give you a job, you wish you'd worked harder at school.
We have a little chip off.
Okay, so first challenge, the chip off with the pitching wedge.
Yep. So we're going to use the pitching wedge and we're going to have a little nearest the pin chip off.
Okay, we come down on here onto the first green, so we're going to have a little nearest the pin from just off the front. What have we got, like 20 paces up to the front of the green, and then lots of green to work with. So kind of the club that we would use. Lee, tell me a little bit about how that golf club looks to you, pitching wedge from the set.
I do like the pitching wedge, and the reason I like it is because from above, the top line looks quite thin, so it reminds me more of a specialist wedge.
Okay.
So when you're sitting it down, it kind of gives me that confidence of it being a specialist wedge when it's actually part of the set. So I quite like it. It's not too big, because some pitching wedges can get big. Yeah. From down at the dress, it looks beautiful.
Nearest the pin then, Lee to start us out, pitching wedge. Very nice, landing it just short of the green, releasing down towards the hole. Oh, that's going to be finishing up probably about 6 or 7 feet short.
Take that.
Okay,
take that.
How did that feel?
Feels nice and soft.
Yeah.
Say it just feels like a normal specialist wedge. Goes through the turf really well. Like it, really like it.
Now you have used Cobra clubs quite a lot over the years, haven't you? You've gone through a few sets of irons of Cobras.
Yeah.
Maybe never anything this kind of almost like chunky. I know this is the player's iron, the tour iron, but do you not find that this is maybe just a fraction chunkier than what you get from a blade? I'm going to contradict a little bit of what Lee said. For me, the top line is too thick. Yeah.
I use the darkened King blade version. So to me that just looks like a Callaway club from 10 years ago. Too chunky, too fat, too big. I don't like the initial looks on it. If you were comparing that to a club right now in what's out there, is that anything similar to anything out on the market? I'd have said it's something like one of the Callaway Apex ones. Yeah. Or something that Lee's actually got. Apex Pros. Yeah. It's like that. I mean, I like the initial look from behind, but when I put it down, it just looks to me very chunky, very just big, really. Bit too big for your eye. For my eye.
I think this is the point, isn't it, of having 2 different people. To me, that looks great because of the standard of golf I'm at. Yeah. For Lester, who uses blades all the time, it's big.
But do you think that looks a little bit like your Callaway now that you've had a little go with it out on the golf course?
It's very similar. I mean, I think a lot of irons look pretty similar down at address, unless there's a drastic shape change. They're all pretty standard. It's the back and like the relief on the cavities that you can see that makes a big difference. Yeah. Okay, Bernie, you've got to get it inside 7 or probably 8 feet there, haven't you?
It's not my forte, is it?
Well, it isn't, but
Lee landed it short, but I think he needs to land it on the front.
Being a slightly bigger club, does it give you any more confidence looking down at it than what you're used to?
Nothing gives me confidence when I'm playing this shot. Right, so I'm going to try and land this actually on the green, run it down there.
Oh yeah, landed it pretty much in the same spot as Lee's, maybe just a fraction further left. And that is running, we're going to have to walk that. Oh no, that's definitely got it inside.
Do you think so? I don't know,
I'm not sure. Inside there.
A little bit too far left, wasn't it?
It was a little bit too far left. I thought it might break just a fraction more. No. First impressions off the club face then?
Yeah, pretty good feel, to be honest. Yeah. Everything I'd expect. I probably didn't strike that quite centrally. I think it was a little bit.
How does it feel at the bottom?
Toe, but I think it still felt. I got good feedback from it.
You did. So you felt like there was a little bit more forgiveness.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah,
compared
definitely.
to maybe what you're using.
Yeah, definitely.
So golfing professional.
Yes.
What do you think?
Well, the first thing I've got to mention is the thickness of the grip. Like, to me, that's quite a thick. Lester, would you say that that was a bit thick? I think that's because you're into your repairs and things like that. I would say that's more of a mid-sized grip compared to what a normal sort of standard grip would feel like. And also, the length of it, it almost feels like a bit of an 8-iron or a 9-iron.
It's because of the Arcos insert in the top. You can actually see the seam here.
Yeah.
And I just feel that makes it seem or feel a little bit bigger than what I was saying earlier, that I would probably have that slightly shortened half an inch if I was going to use the Arcos app on the top. I would personally.
So what am I supposed to be doing? Should I be gripping down this club a little bit? I feel like I've got to, because it then starts to make it feel like a wedge to me. Yeah. But first impressions of the head, absolutely stunning. Like, I think that is really as good as anything that I've seen, to be honest with you. It's very, as Lester quite rightly said, it's very, very similar to a Callaway Apex. It would almost be very similar to the new Titleist T100 as well, that type of range. But the length of the blade is just a fraction longer in my eye than the T100. It's probably more like what the Callaway kind of looks like to me.
And I think I didn't pick up on the grip because I use mid-sized grips, so to me it just felt kind of natural.
Felt kind of normal for you. And I suppose, are your clubs a little bit longer than standard as well?
Quarter of an inch.
Well, and I think that is quarter of an inch longer, so that's going to feel pretty normal for you. I'm going to grip down on it just a fraction, just to try and get a sense of that I've got the same sort of club that I would normally use. But looks wise, nice, no offset really on the club itself. Really, really good. And that could work out all right, couldn't it? I've just caught that a fraction on the heavy side, so I'm not going to get a great deal of feel off the back of that, but
I think the golfing professional's furthest away.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Here we go then, walking up onto the green, and we've got Lee to the right, me in the middle, and Lester to the left. Oh my word, there's going to be a rift here. Do we need to measure that? So, Lester, oh, you were stopped by the leaf, were you?
Oh, come on, I'm robbed again, Lester.
So for me, instantly, I didn't really get a great deal of feedback from that shot because I caught it quite chunky. So, but you boys like the feel of it?
Yeah,
it felt pretty good. From where you both struck it, it felt pretty solid.
Yeah.
Okay, next challenge, Leicester's 1-0 up.
On a chip in as well.
I know, you were in trouble, boys.
Par 3 second hole. We're on the back tee and they're just levelling out the front tee, so it does look a bit of a mess at the moment, but it's going to be looking lovely when the season kicks off.
Yeah.
Bernie, what have you got in your hand?
I've picked out the 6-iron.
6-iron, 173 yards, 175 on the slope.
Yeah.
And the wind is off, well, it's off the left, isn't it?
Slightly hurting, I think.
Yeah, slightly hurting. Okay, nearest the pin, Bernie's got his he's 1-0 up over Lee and I.
First impressions, when I pulled out the wedge, I felt it was a little bit clumpy. The top line was relatively fat in comparison to my normal clubs, but looking at sort of a mid-iron in the 6-iron, looking down there, it looks a little bit more visually pleasing for me. So I actually quite like that.
Yeah.
So,
and again, the length of the club, is that bothering you?
It is, like you said, it feels a fraction longer than what I would like, so I'm going to grip down.
Right.
Sort of an inch.
And what about the thickness of the grip? Have you noticed any of that now, Bernie?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly thicker than I would play. I've got small hands.
Yeah.
And I generally have stretch grips, so ones that are slightly smaller than standard.
Okay.
And that is obviously a lot bigger.
Right. Let's have a go then. Okay. Nearest the pin, Bernie is a 1-0 up on us already.
I've got 6-iron, boy.
Oh yeah, wind's got that, hasn't it? Is that a missed green?
Yeah, awful.
First impressions, not your best strike.
That was a terrible strike, no.
Was it?
Yeah. I just pushed it on the wind.
Did it do kind of what you expected it to do with that type of strike there?
It went a lot higher than what I would want.
Okay.
It literally, that's probably 5-6 yards higher than what I normally hit.
Yeah.
Which obviously was then affected more by wind.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, not very impressive.
You can't get that much feedback on that, can you?
No.
Okay, but you still like the look of it.
Yeah.
Next up, first thoughts looking down. That's
I like
the 6-iron. You're going with 6-iron as well.
Yeah, I like it. It looks a lot like the Apex Pros. It's like the irons I'm kind of moving myself into, away from like the more forgiving clubs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like it. Just it's comfortable.
Length of blade, it's been discussed that possibly length of blade is fractionally longer than, let's say, the ideal. Would you say that that's overly long in the blade length?
Can't say I made much of a notice, to be honest.
No.
Can't say I noticed much difference. It's probably, if I put it next to my Apex Pro, probably similar in size, to be honest. Whereas somewhere like Leicester would notice a difference from playing a small blade. This is the kind of iron I'm in at the minute, so it looks fine to me. Visually from the back, you happy with how that looks? I think, no, not really. It's just like the king bit's a bit big. It doesn't appeal to me. But then when you're down at the ball, you just don't see it. No. So this bit is purely for marketing and sales, isn't it? Shelf appeal. That's all that is.
Absolutely shelf appeal.
But down at the club, down at the ball, the club looks really, really good.
Okay, come on then. See if we can hit the green.
See if we can hit the green.
Again, way up into the air. Coming down onto the right side of the green. That should just catch the right edge. Yeah, that's all right. That's at least we got one on the green there.
Just caught the green.
But you struck that really quite nicely. Yeah, great sound off the face.
Yeah, it feels really nice. It's just as soft as anything I've hit, really.
As good as what you're currently using?
Yeah,
from a feel point of view?
Yeah, easily as good.
Easily as good.
Yeah. Really felt phenomenal. Really, really good.
I'm going to go against what Lee says there. I actually think that the look on this is fantastic. I mean, he said about shelf appeal, but at the end of the day, I'm a golf retailer. I have a pro shop. So for me, when I'm sort of looking at purchasing golf clubs to put into my shop, this one stands out really quite nicely. I think the whole framing of the way in which they've set this up, you could say that it's a marketing side of things, but it just looks really, really good from the back of the club. I just think that's the sort of club that's sort of shouting out to me to pick it up. I just would pick that up if I went into a pro shop. So I like what they've done with that one. It definitely stands out as their tour head. So I'm not sure I can get this 6-iron there, boys.
You can't lose another one. You are the professional.
Okay, right. So we're going to have to start, based on what you two have done, I'm going to have to start this way off to the left-hand side and let it drift.
Started down the middle, it's drifting right, similar line to mine.
Inside.
Oh, I think he's got it.
It's going to be borderline as well,
I think he's got it. If it's not on the fringe, that is.
First things first, the height, that's different for me. I'm not used to getting that much height, but to be honest with you, unlike the chip shot that I did back there, I actually finally got a decent strike out of it, but that felt pretty soft. Again, I felt it before with lots of other tour spec kind of clubs, but that's as good as anything I've tested, really. So whilst we head up to the green to have a little look at who's won the nearest the pin on this particular one, I'm going to send you back to the studio where we actually did hit some 6-irons and got some numbers for you. Numbers time then, Lee. Okay, so if we start off with your ball speed with the 6-iron, 127, so 127.8, so 128 of the ball speed of what you're getting off of that club. Launching it at 15.4. Now that's particularly low for you. Yeah. I was not. You're normally up in the sort of closer to 20s in what you're getting out of your.
Really hard.
But there was one in there at 7.4, which was caught a little on the lower side, wasn't it?
A bit
thin. So even if I kind of took that out of play, if I disabled that one, it brings you up to 17.4, which for you, I think is actually very good for a 6-iron. So you're working really hard at that. If we then look at the spin numbers that you're getting at 5,500 revs for a 6-iron, if you generally as a rule, if you times the number by 1,000 on the bottom of the club, so 6,000 is what you're kind of looking for. If you can get 500 revs either side of that, then generally that's a ballpark pretty good for what you're trying to get. So 5.5, so pretty good. Average or peak height's 37 yards high. So
I'm always a high.
You're always a high, but that's pretty good, and we'll look at that in comparisons to Leicester and myself as well. And then 186 in your carry. You generally carry it around 185 to 190, don't you?
Yeah, 185, 190, and I can get it out there 195 at a big push.
One there at 194, which is a little bit left. You finished 38 yards left, so you've hit left of the green as you hit that
that's
shot.
the one that can come out, because I'm working so hard to decrease the angle. That's the one that can come out.
But all in all, numbers-wise, from this particular club for you, very good.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that.
Now then, Leicester, have we found something pretty special for you here? Ball speed wise, 122,
Yep.
so pretty good out of what we're getting from that iron. 19.1 in the launch, so that's quite a high launch for a 6 iron. I would like to see Leicester at about 19 with a 7 iron, but you do launch them high, spin them a little bit lower normally with your irons.
I do, yeah, correct.
Spin then 5-6 in the spin, so pretty much similar to what Lee's getting out of it as well, which is about right. So pretty much in the ballpark of what you want. 37 yards high, so a decent height of what you're getting out of it. And then 177 in the carry on an average, which I would say is about where you're at, 175 to 180 in your 6 iron.
Yeah, I play 180 total yardage in a 6 iron generally.
But look at the consistency here. 174, 179, 177, 177 and 179. So you were literally flagging this iron, weren't you?
I was impressed with it. Performance-wise,
absolutely superb. So some very good numbers. Numbers then for me, 121 in the ball speed off the face, so I'm always just a little bit lower than what the other guys are getting from all of my irons. So, but 121's about kind of where I'm at with a 6 iron. 18.8 in the launch. Now if I compare that to my 6 iron is just a fraction lower in the launch, probably a degree lower. So that's a little bit high in the launch, but spin at 5.9, nearly 6,000 in the spin. That is fantastic. For me, that is a really, really good spin number, and I feel like I can gain good control from that iron with that spin at just under 6,000 revs. Peak height 35 yards high. Now, if you see all 3 of us play golf together, you'll know that I do generally flight the ball just that little bit lower, so 2 yards lower for me is pretty much spot on for what we want, and 174 as an average carry for me. Again, 175 is kind of where my 6 iron is, and this one just fits perfectly into that as well. So very good numbers again for me with the 6 iron. Tell me a little bit about the specs on these irons then, Lee.
So what Cobra have done with this is they put the MIM technology into the irons. So they've had MIM technology in the wedges before.
Yeah.
So where they're saying that where forging and casting can't produce the soft feel they are after, they've introduced an evolution in manufacturing, which is the metal injection molded. And what they're saying with that is it's able to manufacture precise shaping and give them the soft feel that they're searching for, which clearly forged and casting can't give them. So it's got the tour caliber cavity back is what they're calling that there. So obviously the tour players have had a say in what happens here, and that is just there in the back with that black bit just to sort of aid a little bit of forgiveness. And then the tungsten weighting is designed to bring the centre of gravity right behind the hitting zone in order to aid ball launch and ball speed.
And this little bit of black dampening in the back, it's also for forgiveness and softness feel, but also for acoustics as well.
Yeah.
Try and quieten in that acoustics down and give it that precise kind of sort of sound that the tour players want to get.
Which is what Cobra are going for, which is why they want this MIM to be the softest feeling, and then obviously with the dampening, just that feel aspect, isn't it? It's all about feel with this iron. So obviously with Cobra you get the Cobra Connect, which is like an Arcos powered tracking caddy as they claim it to be, which helps you with your yardages. So if you've got the Arcos app on your phone, then you just scan that. There's a little sort of pattern underneath there, and it links straight to your phone, and then you can use the Arcos system with these clubs straight out the back.
Okay, walking up onto the green area, we have Lee just here on the left, me just on further on. Leicester has missed the green to the right, so he's definitely not picking up a point on this hole. Lee just getting his pitch mark.
You've got this one, haven't you, Dan?
I think I have just got this one.
Oh God, is that on the green, Leicester? Just check.
I didn't know. Did we say it to be on the green?
No, just nearest to the pin.
On the green, surely.
Wow.
Surely we're playing nearest to the pin on the green. Head of rules.
Am I head of rules?
Head of rules.
Head of adjudication.
I feel like I'm a neutral in this situation as head of rules, and I'm going to go with the decision that close to the pin in any competition the ball has to be on the putting surface. Unfortunately you've missed the putting surface by 6 inches, although technically close to the pin. Lee is awarded the point for hitting the green.
So coming out from the studio, numbers were pretty good. You were getting good numbers from that 6 iron.
Yeah, I mean it's only, I've only hit 1 shot, so it's on the golf course with a 6 iron, so it's such a small microscopic sort of test. But yeah, the height scared me a little bit.
It did out on the golf course, but
in the studio, brilliant. Yeah,
you were flagging it.
It's probably
better.
Yeah,
flagging it in there.
That 6 iron testing in the studio was was outperforming my own 6-iron, which I love. So
Yeah.
I mean that's impressive for me, and something to probably think about.
Lee, exactly the same for you, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Performance-wise, very similar to what you used to be seeing.
it's pretty much like I wouldn't be able to separate these from my current plain irons, to be perfectly honest. The height's the same, the distance is the same. You know, these are 1 degree weaker in loft, but that's negligible when it comes to sort of the strike that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could easily swap.
Just tell me quickly about the lofts. What have we got in the 7-iron?
So the 7-iron is 33 degrees, so fairly.
Well, I would say that's fairly. Well, it's a fraction stronger if you're going for a tour spec club.
Yeah.
It is a fraction on the strong side. But you wouldn't have seen that from that flight, would you, that we've just hit?
That's possibly why they are a fraction stronger. Maybe if they were more of a traditional loft, that flight of that 6-iron, particularly for mine and Dan's, who are low hitters generally, that would have been sort of up in the clouds, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right.
And there is that weighting in the toe to aid getting the ball up in the air as well, isn't there? So,
yeah,
you know, for you, it just wouldn't be the club.
No.
So yeah, there is a lot of talk when it comes to lofts of clubs, but ultimately, at the end of the day, if the numbers are coming out really well for you, then you shouldn't concern yourself about the lofts that are being put on these golf clubs. Those clubs are being designed to launch up in the air, and if they need to take a little bit of loft off to be able to manage that, then that's just what they have to do. From my point of view, from the studio, the spin numbers are absolutely superb. If I start to take loft off my irons, my spin numbers start to drop a little bit, but I was getting some pretty good numbers in there. Come up to the 3rd fairway at Torquay, and we are trying to get around 200, just over 200 yards for a 4-iron. Benny, what have we got?
You can't get there.
No, what? You two going against me here? What's going on?
207 yards.
207. I can.
Yeah, 5.
Can you get my 5 out? Yeah.
Can you drive out of it?
Okay, 4-iron. Let's drag the 4-iron out of there. 4-iron then, Lee.
Yeah.
First impressions looking down at it.
I'm trying to think, because the way I present the club, I'm trying to think I can see the back of this.
Can you?
Yeah.
When you look down?
Yeah, but
so I've not picked that up yet, so I don't
I'm
know
really
what that
trying
looks
to sort my loft out, so I'm pressed forward, so I can see, like when I come down, I can see this whole piece here.
Oh no, can you?
But I think that, trying to think back, if I do that with my normal club and looking how thin that is, I probably do. But the blade looks fairly big. It looks like it's gonna be like a little bit forgiving for someone of a sort of like single figure, early double figure handicap.
Yeah.
It looks inviting to use.
Okay.
Very little offset.
Yeah.
So it's
little bit of offset on there.
Little bit, but tiny amount of offset.
Right. I'll probably be the judge of that because it does affect my eye line. But all in all, quite an inviting club to hit.
Well, I'll tell you after I hit this.
Okay. Let's see it then. Oh, that was a great shot. Absolutely superb. Up the left-hand side, cutting back. Has it hit the green? That is the question that we're going to be asking by the time we get up there.
It's tight.
It is tight. It was just up the left-hand side, but sounded
it felt
very... I don't know how to explain what that sounded like from where I was standing. It was quite thuddy.
Yeah, I thought that. A little bit dead.
Dead. I wouldn't say dead, but no. I mean, if that's what it felt like to you, then say what you felt.
I didn't. When I hit it, I didn't expect it to be as good as it was.
Right.
So I don't know if I hit it quite low in the face, and the fact that the weight is all at the bottom helped get that ball in the air.
Well, you didn't struggle getting in the air at all. That was absolutely fantastic.
That was low for me though.
Talk to me about the 4-iron, Bernie. What have you noticed?
So I've noticed there's a little platelet or sort of a little extra bit of weight added into the toe.
You weren't listening to Lee's tech talk, were you?
I wasn't. No.
What do you think that is in there?
That's got to be that has got to be a weight of some description. I would.
Do you think that's possibly maybe a tungsten plug that's gone in there?
Probably, because it does say tungsten on the side of it. Bit of a giveaway. But yeah, it's only in the longer irons. I only noticed it a minute ago. I don't really listen to anything Lee says, so yeah. So
right, okay. So visually looking down at it, then
just a long, stretched out blade for me.
So you're starting to see now a little bit more stretch in the head.
There's not much offset though. I would have thought generally that it would be more progressive and you'd see offset, but it's pretty much of a straight straight line from the shaft into the head. So I quite like that, but it's just too big for me.
So it's a little bit too long in the blade.
Almost a little bit. I'm sort of put off by it a little bit, but
okay. Oh yeah, great strike. Little leaky out to the right again though, Bernie. Was a really good strike though. That sounded a little bit not thin. Was it thin?
It wasn't a good strike.
Was it not? It sounded great.
Thinned it.
So what did it feel like off the face?
I mean the end result would suggest that it's reasonably forgiving.
Yeah.
Because if I'd have struck it like that with my own Cobra clubs, I would have probably hit the front bunker, or first or second bunker, whereas that's carried up into and gone into the greenside bunker.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a particularly good swing. Strike wise, it wasn't great, but it was quite forgiving for where it actually finished up. For a miss hit, you'd take that.
Right, Dan, offset. Talk to me.
0 offset, absolutely superb. Like, that's as good as it kind of gets from my eye, to be honest with you. Again, I use a T100 4-iron in my set, so to me it looks actually very, very similar. I can kind of see where Leicester's coming from. The blade length as you come up to the 4-iron, and I've just had a quick look at the 5-iron, do get that feeling that they're a little bit longer. I don't think that's a bad thing. If anything, I think that would give a little bit of confidence to a lot of players because they can maybe see a bit more of the face, especially when it comes into the longer clubs. With regards to looking down and seeing the back edge of it, I can only see this little corner. So when I look down, I can actually see just this little bit of corner in here, which, is it off-putting? I don't think it's off-putting. I think it just makes it look like it's a little bit squarer when you kind of look down at it, actually in the corner here. So I don't think that's a bad thing. Again, I think that would probably give a little bit of confidence to a lot of players. It doesn't really bother me because I'm not necessarily looking that far back, but from an offset point of view, blade length, no, I think this actually works really well for me.
Right, come on then, Dad. I think all you've got to do is hit the green, and you've got this one.
The facts are, I've got to actually get the ball to the green as the starting position against you two.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, it's on the pin. It's on the pin.
Get up.
Oh, it's in. It's in.
That is an arrow ball. That is an absolute arrow.
In the bag?
Again, like feel-wise, very, very similar to my T100, Titleist T100 4-iron. Didn't have a problem getting that up in the air. It probably was actually a little bit of a nicer flight for me compared to what I got with the 6-iron coming into the par 3 there. But feel-wise, soft, easy to launch. As Lester probably said earlier on, it actually just feels quite a forgiving iron for a tour spec club. Okay, wandered up onto the green. There is Lee just left of the green.
Pin high always wins.
Pin high always wins, apparently. Lester ended up in the green side bunker there. So it actually did okay from a pretty poor strike, what you said there. And the winner of this one, which I think is probably one of the most important ones, the 4-iron,
It would be,
is my 4-iron. So there it is, landed. This is where it's landed, look. I knew it was close. That is quite close, isn't it? If it had just broken a fraction off the left, that would have gone in. So what are we going to do then? So we've got 1-1-1.
So 1-1-1. I'm afraid there's no winner. Golf's the winner.
Golf always wins, Bernie. So there you go. There is the review of the Cobra King Tour Min irons. I'm going to call them Mim irons. Yeah, Mim. Very good. What do you think?
I think, me personally, it's a no. But if you're using something of a similar style, and it will definitely appeal to you because the results and the numbers are very, very good out of it.
What was interesting though, I think off just the numbers alone in the studio, you would have bought these.
100%. So that's probably not an interesting point, but a good point that you should actually then not just do dry ball testing, but take it on the golf course, put it in play if possible, and try it out. Because on the golf course, I'd say no, studio yes.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Right, what about you, Lee?
Performs the same as my Apexes, so I have no problem changing none at all. Perform well.
Has the visuals grown on you?
No.
No, you're still not a big fan of the
performance-wise,
visual.
I would use it, but I prefer the look of my club. So if I had the choice of the two, I would pick mine over that.
Yeah. And I've used King Tour irons in the past. They've been the tour version of what Cobra have brought out, and I've really, really enjoyed using them. These absolutely tick all the boxes for what I kind of want to see from this particular type of iron. It's very, very similar to what I said to my T100 iron. Certainly my 4-iron performance is just as good, and these really did, I think, exactly what they I thought they would do from a looks point of view.
I can see that being a very popular iron amongst maybe 7 to 12 handicappers. That's a great sort of mid-iron.
I think you're right. I think there's a lot of players out there that would look at a blade, let's say, and say, do you know what, I don't think I can hit a blade, but
that's your next step,
up from that. And
I think I'd get used to that if I put it in the bag.
Yeah, and that's its target market, is sort of single figures to low teens. That's its kind of target market.
It hits that spot perfectly.
Which is where I am, and it's why I would use it if I didn't already have something that performs exactly the same.
So I think the boys have summed that up absolutely perfectly. This club, for me, I think is going to look really, really good on the shelf. I think there's going to be a lot of players out there that are going to want to test this iron as soon as it gets out there on the market. So there you go. There is our review of the Cobra King Tour Iron. Beautiful. As always, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Lots of golf content coming out from our channel, but we look forward to catching up with you again next time.